Hey guys, Michael here. So today we're going to take a look at how to take Inkwell Ideas item cards and turn them into Homebrew item cards. So if you haven't checked out Inkwell Ideas, they've got some pretty cool stuff. It's definitely worth taking a look at. I've downloaded a few of their package and made some pretty neat things. So let me start this video by saying that this is the second go around for the audio. I initially recorded it and something distorted in the microphone, so I'm going to do my best to narrate this, but you're not hearing this as I was actually working on this. So on the screen I've got some Inkwell Ideas, but these are custom Inkwell Ideas. This is the package that they actually sell, and they've got a million different items which all kind of come from the D&D books, but I wanted to be able to do some homebrew stuff, so this is my attempt at this. So you can see these are images that I pulled off of Google, and I've got a bunch of them. So hold on, there it is. So these are one-handed weapons that I pulled off of Google, and these are actually the ones that I've already turned into my kind of homebrew packages. But I've got a bunch left. You can see how many that I haven't done yet. So we're going to do one of these today. I wanted to just show how to edit one of these pictures so that you can actually use it on these homebrew cards. So this up here, for the pictures, there's a corresponding back to each one of them, and I've just kind of copied the same information for every one of these backs, just so that when I edit the text for the Rusty Dagger in this example, I can go through and I can keep the same font and the same coloring on every single card back. So I've just kind of copied that one card for everything, but you can see I've got a million different pictures. Now you may recognize the pictures because some of them I pulled off of D&D Beyond, and then some of them I pulled straight off of Google. I actually found a lot of Skyrim pictures that I liked. So when you go to pull pictures for your cards, if you can get them on transparent backgrounds, it saves you a good bit of work. But I'm going to show how to edit the pictures. Now, interestingly, the runestones that you see here, I actually only got one runestone picture, but then I opened it in Photoshop and I edited it to get my different colors, and I'm kind of happy with how they turned out. But I've got quite a few going on here, and I've been trying to keep the PDFs to about maybe 10 pages worth of items. So you can see I've got some blanks still on this package, so we're going to go ahead and we will edit one of these pictures so that we can fill in some of these blanks. I just kind of wanted to give you an idea of what the cards look like, and again, this is all format from Inkwell Ideas. So let's go ahead and we'll open up the picture we're going to work on. So we'll open it with Photoshop, of course. So this is our image right here. A nice sword and shield, and kind of that transparent shield. So what we want to do is we want to put this on a transparent background. So what I'm doing is I'm doing the quick select function for Photoshop, and I'm just dragging in the white space and trying to highlight that white space, but you can see how the quick select's not perfect. It sometimes gets areas that you don't want, so like in that case it got way too much, so it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to do this all in one go. So what we're going to do now that we've added is we're going to try and subtract some of these areas. So like it accidentally added the tip of the sword, so I'm going to subtract out that tip of the sword right there. That way we can see that blade tip, and I actually am going to subtract out some of that blue glow as well, because we want to be able to see some of that really cool glow that's going on right at the tip of the sword. Kind of adds to the blade's magical property, I think. So you can see right now we're just using the subtract on the quick select to go ahead and back out that blue glow. Oh, it looks like got a little too much there. Okay, so we're going to zoom in and we're going to go back to our add function. And I'm going to try and add in some of that white again. So I'm just being real careful. You can see just to get what we want there. And that looks pretty good. Alright. So let's take a look at some of this, this wash. Alright, so we're going to add this little section back in just because it gave a little character. And we don't want to go too much, or we're going to try and pick up that whole background again. And then we're going to add this little section up here back in. And we just want to be very careful. And you want to remember when you're doing this every so often to take a moment to stop holding your mouse button down and just kind of start again, because as you're doing this, if you cover a really big area and then right at the end it picks up something that you don't want and selects this huge area, like you can see that bump right there that it just selected, it gives you the opportunity to undo without backing out all of the progress that you've made. So you can see this little section right here is being really fussy, so I'm going to zoom in and do it by hand, but as I'm doing it, you can see what it does. It tries to pick an area that's bigger than you want it. So I'm just going to settle here in the end for that. That's good enough. It doesn't have to be perfect. We are going to kind of feather out and smooth the edges. So this section down here, we're going to try and we'll go to add, and we're going to try and add some more of this white section in with the quick select tool. But you see what just happened there? We selected way more than what we were going for. So in a minute here, when I actually realized that it took out most of the shield, we're going to start undoing that. So that for us is an issue. So I started by just going to the undo until I realized how much I had done, and then you can see I'm doing the rest now with key commands on the keyboard to just backtrack. So you're gonna see it happens again, unfortunately. This section, it just won't do it. So what we're actually going to wind up doing is we're going to wind up drawing that line in by hand. It all depends on how steady you are, whether or not you're going to be comfortable drawing this by hand, but it's about the only choice that we have when we get into something like this. So I'm switching over to my brush tool, and I'm going ahead and using a fairly large brush. I'm not super fussy. Remember, we are going to blur the edges of this, so if I miss a little bit, it's not going to be super noticeable, but you do want to be fairly accurate. I am by no stretch of the imagination a master of Photoshop. I don't claim to be, but I can get by with some little things like this. But some people, of course, would put me to shame, and I know that. So I'm just basically trying to get a selection here of everything that I want. So I will now go ahead and try and widen out this line. So I'm going back around with my brush tool, and I'm just going to fill it in a little wider. And then what we want to do is we want to fill in all of that space. So once I get my line a little wider, then I will enlarge the selection. But I don't want to accidentally bump over onto our line, so I am filling it in a little bit. Okay, so now let's go ahead and get this whole area here selected. There we go. Okay, and now we're going to try and go back to our quick selection tool and select some of this other area here. So this all looks okay. I'm cool with all that. And let's wrap it around here and see what we get. Probably going to add some of that back in, yeah. That looks better. Yeah, that's a lot better. Alright. And now let's go ahead and we'll use the quick selection tool, and we will try and get the rest of the way up. Here we go. So far so good. That's all okay. And let's see if we can get the rest of the way without problem. It looks pretty good. Alright, so now that we have got everything that we want selected, we are going to delete the white from the background. So unlock it so that when you hit delete, you'll remove that white, and that makes the background transparent now, which is what we're trying to do. So once the background's transparent, you want to select the inverse, which basically means instead of now looking at the transparent background, we're looking at the stuff inside the line that we just made. So we're looking at the sword, the shield, and the background, and we want to blur out that line. So we're going to use feather, which will basically cause that edge to kind of blend into the transparent. So I just did it at 3, and you can kind of see how it fades to the transparency along the edge, but I think we're going to actually go more than 3 just to smooth that out a little bit more. So let's undo the feather, and then we're going to redo feather, but we're going to do it at 4 pixels this time. And it's just going to cause that blur to be a little bit stronger. So now let's go ahead and save this. Alright, so I'm going to save this back into the same folder that my packages are saved in, which is items. And we can retitle it if we want. No, let's go ahead and leave it as its original name. It doesn't really matter for us. So let's go back to the items folder. Where is items? There it is. And we need to change it from a Photoshop file to a PNG file. The PNG file basically will preserve the transparency. Photoshop's a working file. It only opens in Photoshop, but PNG you can open in your PDF. And we don't need to save it as a copy, so we're just going to go ahead and save this. And that's all okay, so just hit OK, and that has now saved this as a PNG. So we can go into our PDF, and now we're going to basically take that file, which is right there, and we are going to copy that one into our PDF. So we hit Edit PDF and Add Image, and now let's go to Items, and there is our image. And that will put the image into our PDF. So let's resize this. And when you resize it, I have been trying to basically size it so that the image fits within that kind of round ring of this this template. So it's just kind of helped me line it up. I don't think I want this straight up and down though. I think I want to put a little angle on this. So let's go ahead and rotate it and see what it looks like. I'm not sure I like it in that direction. Let's rotate it the other way. Yeah, I kind of like that better. So that's really pretty much it. You've got it pasted now into your PDF, and that binding box, that gray box, won't appear when it prints. So we can pretty much save it at this point, and we're good to go. So that's basically how I'm setting up these files, and I've got a bunch of blanks, and then I'll just edit the text to be whatever I want this homebrew item to be. I'm kind of happy with the technique though, to be able to take and do these custom Inkwell Ideas cards, and I'll print these along with the cards that they offer up to give me a little bit more homebrew variety in what I'm doing. So I hope this was helpful, guys, and if you all have any questions for me, of course leave them in the comments. But thank you so much for checking out the video.
Remember, if you like our video, give us a thumbs up and subscribe so you can see more great videos like this.